I recently listened to an Instagram influencer share how that she and her family were in a period of too much pain. They had lost 2 family members, her child was chronically ill, and they had another family member that had had a dangerous surgery. That's a lot. And she was commenting how she knew that many of her followers were probably going through hard things as well. So we're talking about the 4 T's of trials, tribulations, and terrible things. I'm thinking that the most popular verse in the Bible regarding this is where Jesus tells us that in this world we will have tribulation. And then he says to be of good cheer because he's overcome the world. There's that promise of eternity again, and it's supposed to bring us comfort. But when we read that verse, all we see is that we're going to have hard times. These words come in John 16 right after Jesus told his followers that they might experience persecution, hatred, and even death. And he told them, though, that their joy would be fulfilled in laying down their lives for others, much as he had laid down his life for them. And in John 16:17, the response of the listeners was that they started questioning and saying, what is Jesus talking about? We don't even understand. And Jesus speaks up again and says, you will grieve, but your grief will be turned to joy. Then Jesus turns to his heavenly Father and prays this prayer about the 4 T's, trials, tribulations, and terrible things. He says to his Father, I'm coming to you now, but I say these things while I'm still in the world, so they might have the measure of full joy. I have given them your word, and the world has hated them, for they're not of the world any more than I am. My prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. They are not of the world, even as I am not of it, so sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. As you sent me to the world, I send them into the world. For them I sanctify myself, that they may be sanctified. Couldn't Jesus have asked his Father to remove us all from this terrible, tribulation, trial-filled world? Instead, he prayed that God would not remove us, but instead protect us from the evil one and establish us in the truth and send us to the world. Think about when your kids signed up for football or soccer, let's say. They're so excited to score goals and be the number 1 player on the team. But it's not too long before they might be sidelined for a bit, maybe injured, out of play for a while, or even suffer a whole season of losses and no wins. And yet, we send our kids out on the playing field knowing this, and we sign them up again year after year. God has called us to live in this world for a season, and he knows that we will be injured, and problems will occur, and we'll be sidelined, and we will experience losses. Yet he sends us out onto the playing field to be filled with peace and joy. And you know what keeps the athletes on the playing field even when they are knocked down and hurt and suffer greatly? They love the game. They love the teamwork. They love the people. I read once that it's because they have a warrior mentality. Truth be told, often athletes play right through the pain because they like the accolades and the coach insists that they do, or they just don't want to lose face. But many athletes have a warrior mentality. Jesus isn't telling us to play through the pain, down a bottle of painkillers, and he's not pushing us into dangerous territory by asking us to play on a broken foot. But he is reminding us that we have protection, not from the 4 T's, but from the evil one. In other words, he laid down his life for us. He calls us to lay down our lives for others, and in doing so, we will conquer the real enemy, because peace and joy only emerge in the face of hardships. I can barely stand to watch little kids play sports and suffer injuries, and sometimes injuries leave them unable to play again. Even sometimes death occurs on the playing field, all for short times of glory, finite periods of cheers and goals, and yet we send our kids to play over and over again. That's a very simple analogy, but Jesus' words are a complex reality in the game of life. The 4 T's are present on the field, but peace and joy are ours because of the end game. One day we will be escorted off the dangerous field into an arena without pain or tears, but for now, he's patting us on the shoulder, loading us up with our suit of armor, and sending us into the game. We've been chosen to play, to give our all, to get up when we're knocked down, to lay down our lives for our teammates, and all of that is to be enjoyed in the middle of pain and even in the middle of being carried off the field for a while on a stretcher. All the while, the heavens are in the grandstands cheering us on, not just for a goal, but for the end game. Can you hear the roar? That roar needs to become louder than the stinging pain of the here and now, so that we can all play the game with joy.